debate. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of International Cooperation.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am particularly pleased to rise today to speak to the enhancement of the Canada pension plans, because once again, the government is offering a concrete solution to the middle class to allow it to progress. Because it must be said that retirement levels have decreased in Canada. In 1977, 43% of Canadians had a defined benefit pension plan, but in 2012, only 27% of people benefited from this kind of plan with defined benefits. If we look at the private sector, this percentage is 11%, just over 1 out of 10 people. We must also look at another reality. Young Canadians are not saving enough for their retirement for all kinds of reasons. 1 out of 4 families that is nearing retirement age, that is around 1.1 million families in Canada, risk not saving enough to retire in order to maintain their standard of living. What is even more troubling are the families who do not benefit from a pension plan at work. 1/3 of them risk not saving enough for their retirement. The government cannot allow Canadians to live in such uncertainty. That is why we are acting, and we are doing so in conjunction with the provinces and territories, because we have to ensure as a society that all Canadians will be able to retire with dignity. Therefore, the question is how the government, the provinces and the territories, how they have decided to act. We started with the fundamentals simply by increasing the amount of retirement benefits. When this new pension plan comes into force, it will correspond to 1/3 of eligible gains. Currently, it only corresponds to 1/4. For example, if we take the mother of a family who earns $50,000 a year, with the new plan, she will receive retirement benefits of $16,000 per year instead of $12,000. Then the cap on eligible gains, that is the gains that determine the final amount of the pension, the cap will be increased by 14% between now and 2025. That means that the maximal annual benefit for of the CPP, which is currently some $13,000, will increase to $20,000 in today's dollars. The enhanced CPP represents an increase of close to 50% of maximum benefits. Now, something else that is interesting about the CPP is that it is fully financed by the contribution of workers. For most Canadians, the increase in premiums will only be 1%. Furthermore, the workers' contributions to CPP will be tax deductible, whereas other contributions to the CPP will still receive, or the other contributors will still receive a tax benefit. Workers can be eligible for the increase in these tax benefits for their workers' income. Their retirement income will be higher without the family budget being affected by the increase in contributions. Finally, the plan will be phased in progressively between 2019 and 2025. Therefore, the government is allowing all workers and all businesses to prepare themselves adequately for the coming changes. Canadian families thus know that they can count on us to ensure their quality of life and their future in a responsible manner. I might remind you that this enhancement is in addition to other measures that Canadians can already count on. Measures that provide entitlement to tax assistance, for example, the RRSPs and our TFSAs. I would like to point out that the changes that we are making today do not seek to ensure the viability of the CPP because it is already insured for the next 75 years, according to Canada's chief actuary. These amendments instead seek to encourage Canadians to save more for their retirement, especially young people. In closing, Madam Speaker, I would like to sum up the main assets of this enhanced CPP. When it is fully operational, the maximum benefits will have increased by practically 50%. The CPP offers firm and foreseeable benefits, which means that Canadians have nothing to fear, and especially if the economy goes through hard times. CPP benefits are fully indexed, which reduces the risk that inflation might erode the purchasing power of Canadians. The enhanced CPP compensates for the gap in employers' pension plans. And it follows workers from province to province, which enhances labor mobility. And the CPP is a plan that has many million contributors. That is essential data because it allows the CPP Investment Board to benefit from scales of economy in terms of its return on investment. The next generations of Canadians can rest easy. When they reach retirement age, they can be sure that the CPP will have enough funds to pay out the benefits they need. They will thus be able to concentrate on what counts for them, for example, spending time with their families or engaging in leisure activities. Canada is at its best when all governments work together. The members of Parliament today have the historic opportunity to ensure a better retirement for all Canadians. That is why we must all support this bill. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
And comments, questions et commentaires. The honourable member for Saskatoon West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank my honourable colleague for her speech, her comments, and her passion about pensions and the importance that they play in people's lives. And I guess my question through you, Madam Speaker, to my colleague is I would like to hear what she thinks, what the member thinks about the fact that those with disabilities, living on disability incomes, and those women who choose to leave the workforce to raise children will not be granted the CPP enhancement that all other workers will. And I would like to ask the member through you, Madam Speaker, how she feels about the fact that we are here going to vote on a bill that, in essence, is sexist. Thank you.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of International Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank my honourable colleague for her question and her shared commitment to assist those who need greater pension security. I think it's incredibly important to recognize that with this bill, we are going to be helping thousands, if not millions, of Canadians achieve greater retirement security. When I was knocking on doors in my riding of Burlington, and in fact, this past weekend, I knocked on a door of an individual who, although she is retired, she was unable to maintain her quality of life and to continue working just with CPP and continue her life with just CPP and OAS, and was talking about how important it is to ensure that we make these enhancements. I want to make it clear that all Canadians who contribute to CPP will receive this enhancement, and that the base, as the Minister had mentioned, maintains that dropout period. And I think it's incredibly important that he's going to raise this issue with his provincial counterparts when he meets with them, so that we can not only ensure that the enhancement goes through, but we continue to improve and ensure that Canadians have the access to retirement security. Thank you.
Comments, questions et commentaires. The honourable member for Hamilton Mountain.
Thanks, Madam Speaker, and I appreciate the member's speech. And I'm curious to ask what she just commented on about the enhancement. And I'm wondering, Madam Speaker, can the member explain why that the dropout provision for the general dropout provision was included in the enhancement, but the enhancement for child rearing and people with disabilities was omitted. What was the reason for that, and why was the member or the minister have to go back and try to get this back in when he could have done it right away?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of International Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I appreciate my honourable colleague's question. I'd like to focus, however, on why I'm really excited about the CPP enhancement. And the reason is because as a young Canadian, I think it's really important that we encourage young Canadians to save. I've spoken to so many of my peers across Burlington and across the country about the fact that they're worried about their retirement because they are not going to have access likely to defined or defined contribution pension plans. And so it's incredibly important that we make this enhancement for future generations so that they will have the retirement security they need as they age and move into retirement. Thank you.
Questions and comments? Questions et commentaires. The honourable member for Foothills.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to ask my colleague, I found it interesting, well, first off, that she talked about knocking on the door of a senior in her riding this past weekend. And I wonder if she explained to that senior that she won't get any benefits from the CPP. This is not something that's going to benefit seniors for 30 or 40 years down the road. But the question that I would ask her is, has the government done any analytics or any economic impact on the CPP tax hike? Certainly in my constituency of Foothills, what I'm hearing from small business owners is this is going to cost jobs. They're not going to be able to afford to additional hires when you add a carbon tax, now a CPP tax hike. This is going to make it very hard on our employers to expand and grow. I was wondering if, to my colleague, has there been any studies or analysis done on the jobs and the impact on jobs the CPP tax hike will have?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of International Development. A very brief answer, please.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to my honourable colleague. Of course, there's been research and analysis done. However, this gives me a great opportunity to mention that my mother is visiting today and in the gallery, and she is actually a small business owner.
The Parliamentary Secretary knows that she can't identify anyone who may or may not be in the audience.
And so, either way, my mother is in fact a small business owner who has made it very clear to me, and many small business owners in my community have said the same thing, that this is in fact not a tax. We know it's a contribution that we make to our pensions, and that it is important for all of us to make sure that we have good retirement security for all of us across Canada. Thank you.
The honourable member for